We have done hundreds of these, and we're going to keep doing them right up through the election. We always begin our town halls with a pledge, and then we always begin our town halls by recognizing heroes in our midst. I've said this before, I'll continue to say it. What your country is going through right now. Who's buzzing? Who's ringing?
No, it's just that I have a voicemail. It'll go off in a second. I'm going to turn it off.
She's going to be in trouble the whole time. I'm just kidding. Don't turn it off. You're fine. Don't turn your phones off for me. Don't worry about that.
Like Nancy say, I didn't.
He made me turn it off. I've gotten in trouble a bit, and other people like it when I say the following. I'm glad our country is fighting right now. I'm glad we're going through a fight. And I know, words like that will be used against me. No matter where you are on the political divide right now, conservative, liberal, no matter where you are, we've got huge problems. We can all agree on that?
Yes.
I would argue that one of the reasons we have huge problems right now is we as a people, we as a country, and certainly our politicians have been asleep for a long, long time. And that's helped get us to where we are right now. So now we're like this. Obama gets elected in 2008, we start to do this. Here come those Republicans in 2010, we start to do this. And we're still doing this. And I know there are a lot of people turned off because we're doing this. I say thank God we're doing this, because we've been asleep for too long. So that's a very long-winded way of saying we're going to probably keep doing this for a while. It's always helpful to remember while we're fighting that we all are on the same team. And the easiest way for us to remind ourselves, Republican, Democrat, and Independent, that we all are on the same team is we say the pledge, we remind ourselves by doing that, that this is the greatest country in the history of the world. The second thing we always do at the beginning of our town halls, and we've been doing this since before I got elected, is acknowledging the men and women of all colors, of all political persuasions, who have died and been hurt or just served to defend that idea. This is one thing Republicans and Democrats should agree on. So, if you have worn the uniform, if you have served this great country, though you don't want to be recognized, tough. Either raise your hand or stand and be recognized. I love it. We did up in Lake Zurich a couple weeks ago, we did what's called the Congressional Veterans Commendation, where as a congressman, we honored 15 veterans in my district who, because of their service or their community service after they served the country, we got to recognize them and give them a congressional commendation. And the most enjoyable part of that was, and all of you who serve know this, they hate to get recognition. People who've served, veterans, they hate to talk about themselves. They hate to talk about their service. They hate to talk about what it was like in Desert Storm or Vietnam, or that night we had 2 men from World War II. And so we would pull them up on stage one at a time, and we'd force them to stand there and listen to me say great things about them. I loved it, because that's the last thing in the world they want is recognition. You know the old story about John McCain. And again, don't know where you stood with John McCain or not during the last election, but the coolest thing about John McCain was, here you got a guy running for president of the United States, and his campaign staff had to beg him, I mean beg him, to talk about his service, to talk about his war service, to even mention that he served in a prison for 7 years. They had to beg him to talk about this, because his code was, the veteran code is, I don't talk about it. I don't want to go there. It's not why I did what I did. That's something so uniquely awesome about our military. They don't talk about it. And so it was a really fun thing the other night to force these guys to get recognized. So to all of our men and women, we say thank you for us. They're not looking for a thank you. They don't want a thank you. They don't need a thank you. You know what the rest of us do? The rest of us do. It's important to us to recognize them. Thanks for coming out. When I got elected 10.5 years ago, a year and a half ago, I said a number of things. I said a bunch of things before I got elected, and in no particular order. I said, my name's Joe Walsh. If I'm elected, I do not want to become a professional politician. I will never, ever, ever serve more than 6 years in Congress. And I won't if I'm reelected. I said I'm going to sleep on the floor in my office, and I'm going to come home all the time. I'm going to do more of this than any member of Congress. I said that I'm going to turn down my congressional health package, and I did. I'm going to turn down my congressional pension benefits, and I did. And I said that I was going to rail against the Democrat establishment and the Republican establishment that had put us in this pickle. This $16 trillion pickle, where our country right now is so broke you can't believe it. And Americans aren't out here aren't working in greater numbers than people know. And I said I was going to go there and really try to raise a little bit of hell, because I didn't think 2 years ago, and I still don't think we have much time to turn this around. I said I would be the most accessible member of Congress. What does that mean? That means I made a pledge to the people who elected me that I would do this more than any member of Congress. What is this? We call them town halls. Sometimes I do have a cup of Joe with Joe. What does it mean? What it means is that as a member of Congress, every week or weekend that I'm home, and I come home every week or weekend, I will put myself out there directly in front of people so that you can say anything you want to me. And I know some of you get those robocalls. Hi, my name's Joe Walsh. I know you hate... Sometimes I try to make them funny. I know you hate these calls, but I only do those calls to announce town halls. It's a cheap, easy way to do it. And these aren't events. These are not things where I come and I pop in for a few minutes, I wave to the camera, I shake a few hands, and then I go. This is for the next hour and a half, or as long as you guys are not bored. I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to answer questions or take your thoughts on anything. Because I think, next to voting, this is the most important thing I do. I do it for a few reasons. I do it, one, because I think in Washington right now, I won't speak for Springfield, I'll speak for Washington where I live. You got way too many Republicans and way too many Democrats who have been there forever. And you know what, guys? they think, they believe, they're convinced you work for them. Hey, we've enabled them to think that way. So this is a reminder to me every darn weekend that I work for you. So I have to stand here in front of people and with people, some people who like me, some people who can't stand me, but every one of you is my employer. And the beautiful thing about this is you get to decide in 6 months whether you want to rehire me. Now, this is a whole new district. Redistricting's crazy, so this isn't my current district. Doesn't matter to me. This is a reminder to me every weekend that we've got the formula wrong. I work for you. And if I don't have the courage or the decency to do this all the time, I shouldn't be elected. Nobody in between us. There's no media in between us. Where's my staff? Raise your hand if you're on my staff. They're away from me. They're not, you don't sign up when you come in and say, I got this question for Congressman Walsh. And then you know what the staffs do, then they screen the questions to make sure Congressman only gets the good, easy questions. None of that. This is just me with a cup of coffee. How's that cup of coffee?
It's coming, I'm
Okay.
making it.
This is just me with a water and a coffee, plopping myself down, fire away. I just think if I'm a voter, and I will be a voter this year, I don't want to vote for anybody who doesn't do this kind of thing. Now, in our defense, politicians don't like to do this for a lot of reasons. It's hard, and I don't know who you are, I don't know who you are, I don't know who you are or you are, and so you may be coming with just a doozy of a question to nail me. That scares politicians, because we got to think on our feet and respond to anything. But then the other thing is, look at all the cameras. Every word that Joe Walsh says is being filmed right now by friend and foe. It's part of the process, and it's going to be used against me. Oh man, this scares politicians. Tammy Duckworth won't do this a lot. Most politicians don't. I don't care. I don't care. This is too important. I firmly believe that our country are my two hands right here. And we're shaking. And we're on the precipice of a cliff. And we are about to fall off a cliff. And I don't think we have a lot of time to save it. Not everybody may agree with me. That's why I do this. And so I think we don't have a lot of time, and I know people are filming me and all these YouTube videos about Joe Walsh, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm here just doing the best I can. The reason that we are in such the mess that we're in is because we have politicians, Republican and Democrat, whose only mission in life is to get reelected. That's it, right? Perfect entrance. Their only job is to get reelected. This has been going on forever. Come on in, folks. And how do politicians think they're going to get reelected? Year after year, what they do to get reelected is they promise you things. They give you things. They take care of you. We've been doing this year after year for the last 50 years. Both parties. I need to get reelected. How am I going to get reelected? I'll give you this earmark. I'll give you a new highway in your district. I'll take care of your student loan. Health care for all.